Hello there and welcome back to another video. We are going to be doing a city update today and more of a general display update. As you can see, I've got all my mechs just behind me on the shelf, and I don't think much else has changed on this shelf. The main thing is going to be the city, as today we'll be populating it, and I've added some rock work to it and a tunnel, which I'm very happy to have done. I haven't finished the Lego store just yet. I'm still working on the second store. In fact, I don't think I've added anything since I last shown off the first floor, so I guess I've still got that to come. Again, you'll see everything you saw in the last video and a bit more, as well as actually I've brick built the displays for the collectible minifigures, which aren't here as they're just on the bed at the minute, as well as everything I've used for my other recent videos. I'm absolutely terrible with putting them back. So let's take a look at the city and start populating it, as well as all the other little bits I've got laying around. So for today's video, I'm actually recording it with a new camera. It's actually a phone camera, so hopefully the stabilizer on it makes the video footage a little bit less shaky than if I just plug my regular camera up to the computer. And as you can see, I've got my two recent collectible minifigures here, which if you haven't seen the recent video, do check it out. There's finally a way to know what minifigures are in the boxes, and I'm so happy for it. But I have built them their own sort of custom frames here, which can just clip onto the minifigure bases. And one of the best parts about it is they do stack, so you can see, like in my last minifigure, well, it's no longer my last video now, but the one before, I mentioned about having some frames instead of and replacing these regular smaller little plates with the action poses. And this is more of what I mean. I think it's about 2 plates higher than one of them door pieces I showed off, but it gets the point across very nicely. And if I am to attach the figures, I might need both hands for this. Now you can see I have attached both minifigures to their own frames, and obviously Lego would make a custom mold for it, but the whole point of it is that these two can just clip together. And again, I'm going to need both hands for this, and they clip together pretty easily. And then you can just stack them however high you want. If Lego make their own mold of these, I'm sure you'll even be able to stack them so that they're somewhat offset, but you can stack them, stand them up just like so, and be able to display them just like you can with the minifigures, only instead of displaying them sort of one high and just the one, or perhaps you've got a custom shelf to make more. But even with the desk risers like I've got on my shelf, it does mean that you can only really fit sort of 2 on each row, and then you're still taking up the same space on the ground, rather than using the height of the shelf and just stacking it all the way up. Even at the back, you could probably fit 3 of these, which just makes it a much more space efficient method than perhaps the bases that they had originally. It's just something that I think would be really cool. Again, feel free to copy this design. It only uses a few simple brackets at the side, and you've got the 1x8 running up the side to create that bracket. It is 1x5 by however tall it is, but it has enough clearance, probably a bit too much clearance in the side. But all that means is you'll be able to stick like a little owl, or even hang the book up. So I just really wanted to show it off, and it does unclip very easily, and you can switch them around, and they have their own sort of windows. So this is what I was referring to in my first collectible Marvel minifigures video, which again is up on the channel, as is the one where I unbox these two and finally hack season 2 of the Marvel minifigures. But that's one display out. Now let's go take a look at my Lego City. And actually, just before I take a look at the Lego City, now I've got a steady camera and it's not going to look like an earthquake, I can show you all of the mechs that I've currently got on the back row. You could see the Marvel ones at the start, ending with a Star Wars trio on screen now, and my custom Palps, Luke and Marok, who was about halfway through. And of course I have upgraded them. You can see Wolverine's got the new legs, and all of these figures have hinges on their arms, which just makes the mech so much cooler. And I'm even prepping for a video to come, so a little spoiler alert to one of my future videos. But of course, this is all the mechs I currently have. There's definitely a spot there for another mech to be made, which hopefully I get done soon, and it'll just complete it. I've got the 10 mechs at the back. Soon I'll have to sort of clear that shelf for them, but of course we've got the Halloween set. There will be a review on this Wally and Eve brickheads, which was sort of an impromptu purchase at the Lego store on my last visit. And of course I've got my Lego Ideas set. I still think it's up on Lego Ideas. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to go support it. But Really, I should perhaps revise it before resubmitting it at any point, because there's definitely some good ideas there, only this is, of course, the first draft. So I thought I'd show off my mechs before going to the Lego City. And of course, here is the Lego City. You can see the Lego store that I built in the last video when we took a look at the Lego City, and you get a better look at all the flowers here now that the camera is less shaky. You've got Wally down there, which I do now have his brick heads, and you've got a few updated bits. Like after the last video, I did decide to pull the road out, and especially at the back there. I moved the crossing. The crossing was originally here, but sort of felt out of the place. It came to nowhere, so I couldn't do with it. So reverted to my original idea, put the crossing all the way at the back there, and you've got the guy on the bike actually jumping over one of the speed bumps, which looks a lot better than a pothole which was originally here. I've also moved the plates around. We've got the slow sign right before the crossing, because obviously you need to slow down when you're going over a crossing, just in case someone runs out or you don't see someone already crossing on the other side. And you can actually remove each of these base plates. I've made it a lot more modular using this mill system that I have copied from various other people. It's sort of been accepted into Lego City building. But this city is modular. This road comes out, then this is its own base plate. This wall is its own base plate on, I think, a 6 wide or 8 wide base plate. And you've got the little one at the back. The sitcom tower is its own 16 by 16 base plate, and this is a 32 by 16. So it all slots in very well. And of course, none of you will have yet seen this rocky wall. I'll perhaps take this to the desk for a closer look, but for now, this is its own base plate. It goes right to the back, and here I want to build some sort of waterfall, which would be really nice, leading into a little pond just down there in front of another modular building, especially if I do end up building my little sea life aquarium, if you will. But that'll be a much later video. I also have this whole wall to build up here, and I've used most of my slopes for this piece, so perhaps that'll be more of a straightened wall where they've carved it out to make sure it doesn't topple on this building. Or perhaps I'll even build some sort of house protruding out of the cliff and only need a few slopes to finish it up the top. And you can see Captain Jack is just sitting on top of the tunnel enjoying his drink, and there's a bit of spillage here from one of these birds. It sort of dropped all the way down the side, and I guess it goes really well with my little dog mess over here. I don't know what my obsession is, but it does look quite funny. And you've got the 2 birds up here nesting, getting ready for mating season, and it's quite nice to have this little rocky bit protruding out from the wall, as well as the odd little cave. You can't quite see through there, but if I had a light, you'd be able to see there's actually a cheat element through there from the Legends of Chima. Who remembers the Legends of Chima? It weren't too long ago compared to one of the other themes that I show off. Of course, I've got the power miners, the rock monsters right at the top overlooking the town. I originally tried to include one of them through there, which is now just a hollow little hole, but because of how wide they are, it was protruding out the back and didn't allow me to flush it with the side of the unit, so ultimately they had to go. And I put 4 of them on top, which do look quite nice, and again, they're just overlooking the rest of the city. It looks really cool compared to just having that white wall, and I have left a full bricks gap at the top just in case anything happens with this top shelf. I don't want to be putting any pressure on the Lego, as this is exactly a brick tool, and I guess I could have added 2 more plates, but I quite like having the little gap just so you know that it's not something built into the unit and it's just filling up that empty space. So we've got this tunnel for cars to go past, and of course Halloween's on the way. I had to get this little spider seat in, and in fact, let me go grab Matteo and Z-Blob, as they'll make a fine addition to this chair. And if you didn't see on Wednesday, which would have been Thursday's video as I recorded it a day early, we did get our first Lego Dreams magazine, which comes with Matteo, who is one of the main characters from the Lego Dreams series, and this miniature Z-Blob mech, which I guess will be fighting off against this nightmare monster, which could be a cool display for somewhere in the city. We've got a cyclist just at the back on his motorbike. I also have, from one of my pick-a-brick wall experiences, a bunch of spiders. Again, these will be just dotted around throughout the city, and perhaps I'll be able to show them off at the end of this video. But I also have a pumpkin and a coffin which I think originally came as part of a promo, some sort of gift with purchase, or just a poly bag with a zombie in. So I definitely want to turn this into a car. Stay tuned in the video for that. And one vehicle I have actually modified is this sort of snow speeder over here. You can see that it does in fact have wheels now, and that is because I don't have any icy cliffs in my city just yet. I mean, it's not exactly the biggest area to include a whole mountain range just for this speeder. So I've switched it to wheels. It can be a little buggy that's driving along the road. Perhaps she's heading towards some icy cliffs and will soon be able to put on her skis and ski down or go take pictures of seals and all the other wildlife. But it does mean that I just took these pieces off and quite simply grabbed some tires and the little element, the plate that holds the tires on, and just put them on the bottom here. And that was as simple as that, to give it some wheels and make it ready to hit the road. So I do have these spare skis as well, which could make for some good landing gear for a Star Wars ship, especially the front ones. And I even have this cyclist here who's just on a stroll in his new fancy bike, which does look pretty cool. Perhaps he could be on the road though. I think he's more suited to the pavement, as I doubt he's going to be speeding too fast. Of course, I've got a few of the sea animals there ready for their sea enclosure, and again the Lego City, which if you haven't seen the video of, check it out. I won't be showing it off in this video, as next time I'll have built the second floor, and even then I won't be showing off the first floor, so go check that out. Perhaps I can populate it in today's episode. But on this road we have a few more bikes. We've got the police bike, we even have the crazy one back there, and of course the cyclist on the pavement. Again, the flowers haven't changed much since the last episode. I've moved these flowers from all the way over there where I've now got the crossing, but besides that, this city is just lacking some more people. So I'm going to show you the people in a minute. Hopefully we can get a queue going outside of the Lego store and just bring this city to life, add a bit more of a crowd, and get working on the missing modular buildings, which hopefully will come soon. Last Halloween in the Builder minifigure, we did manage to pick up these minifigures. And I did pick up a few bits this year, but I actually can't remember where I put the pumpkin helmet, so I'll have to go take a look for that and get the minifigures ready to put in the city. I actually have a few animals lined up in my Star Wars sort of mock area, which isn't looking very Star Warsy. I guess there's a few little Star Wars and Harry Potter builds at the back, but I've got these animals ready to go for my city, and I might end up making some sort of pet rescue or some pet store just to enclose these, and maybe even a pet shelter where they're looking after them rather than putting them up for sale, as it's a bit friendlier for my city. And a few other little bits over there. You can see I've got a pile of frogs, which again I'll probably add to the city some way or another. And if you haven't seen it before, I've spoken about all my other displays, so there are all my Lego Star Wars minifigures. Again, the video focusing on that is up, so now let's start populating the Lego City. And here are all the minifigures ready to go on this green base plate. You can see some of them are Christmas themed, especially as we come to this front right corner, but for the most part they'll all be finding their way in the city somehow. And a lot of them are collectible minifigure series, like this turkey here and this policeman, and you've even got one of the older submarine figures, which is from an outdated Lego theme. But you do also have a few of the more custom figures. You've got this farmer here which uses Thor's hairpiece, and you've even got a few Marvel characters in here like Stark and Pops just to the side, and even got some Ninjago training Donnies. There's a lot of minifigures here is the point, and hopefully I'll be able to house them all. I've got to have some sort of fancy costume party going for all the fancy costume ones, and I'm not quite sure how I'll get the ninjas in there, but where there's a will there's a way, and I really want to get these in. I also have a few minifigures that are not yet complete. Again, a few of them are just mix and match with all their different parts, and I especially like this mermaid here, which does use Palpatine's head, which is going to be really hilarious if I can fit that in the city. But these are the figures ready to go, so I'll be able to show you where they are once I've added them to the city. But that's going to be my task for the next hour or so, and hopefully I'll give you an update before this video ends and you can see how much it improves it. And as you can see, as I've started piling the minifigures up, especially that queue outside the Lego store, these base plates slide out, and that just allows me to grab the next one, slide it forward, and saves me leaning over and knocking something else off, which I think we all know eventually I would do somewhere. I knock enough pieces off when I'm just reviewing sets, let alone trying to build a Lego city. All I've done so far is got the Lego queue on the outside. Now, I will be adding people on the inside once I finish the second floor, just so it looks a bit more packed, because at the minute we've got a load of people waiting outside and no one inside. It might be a bit cool to get some lights in there, but that is a whole nother board game. I haven't explored anything like that yet, so that'll definitely come at a later time. And of course, we've got these 3 cool dudes in their brick outfits advertising the Lego store. One on the side of the road, perhaps this is a new store opening or something like that. One entertaining the queue, and one allowing people to go in and out so that the store doesn't get too packed. They actually do this at most Lego stores, especially on new release day. They have someone on the door, not normally dressed up like a brick, but a member of staff, just to ensure that the Lego store doesn't get too packed. And it is a nice way of funneling people in, as well as I've got a few minifigures ready to go for the interior of the Lego store. Perhaps I'll just leave them in for now. And I've also dotted a few minifigures around, like I've placed this cop here. We've got 2 different Lukes that I've given the angry clone face, which are sort of replicating that Spider-Man meme where they're pointing at each other. And of course, you've already seen the first of the spiders. In fact, there's quite a few different spiders on this wall, especially one at the top, one over here, one under the nest. And if you can count up how many spiders are in this city, please do put it in the comments down below. I'm not sure I'll have a correct answer, but it'll be interesting to see if everyone counts the same amount of spiders. We've then got a spider queen here, one of the 3 minifigures, the first of which was the witch, which has joined Captain Jack up here looking over the road. And we got the spider queen with 2 of her spiders approaching, one of which is actually on the lamppost. And I've whacked the pumpkin on the corner for now. Perhaps I'll find a better spot, but it filled a gap which didn't have any plants. There's another spider on the crossing just back there, and a few more on this left side. You can see perhaps the crazy scientist has let his spiders loose, and that's why he's reaching up to the tree trying to get it back down. And I guess this belongs on the road. And I've also situated Matty and Z-Blob just there behind the flowers, and they're going to try and save this biker and the dog that's living a very chill life from this spider chair. It just spooks it up a little for Halloween. Now, I didn't have too much time, and obviously the main focus is completing the city, so there's not too much I've done for Halloween. But I think adding these little bits like the spiders and just giving it overall a bit more of a spooky vibe is something that is well needed, especially for October. And of course, this will be like it for the month until November rolls it round, and I guess I best get it ready for Christmas at that point. But by the new year, hopefully the city is more than built, and perhaps next year I'll do a bigger Halloween update. But I just wanted to add a bit of spook to the city, so we've got the spiders, the minifigure, and the dream set here with a little story that is being told right at the front of the city. And I'll definitely be looking into making a coffin car, so stay tuned for that next update. Perhaps once I've done the second story to the Lego store, I'll also include that coffin car on the side. But that is it for now. I think this video's gone on long enough, so I'll leave it there. We still have all these minifigures to situate, so I'll definitely be making some sort of fancy dress party, as well as everything else I've mentioned in my last few videos. And I do have quite a few different pirates at the front here, which are definitely going to be interesting with the new Pirate VIP pack that I've picked up on lego.com for my October purchase. So stay tuned for a review of that order. And I even have my own custom Death Eater, so there'll definitely be some Star Wars references as well as Harry Potter, and I might even be able to sneak a Minecraft character in there somewhere. So stay tuned, and of course, like if you like the video, subscribe for more Lego content, and may the bricks be with you always.